Most underrated exercise.
Underrated exercise.
Oh.
Only because
Your journey, your speed, your story. Find your pace. Dr. Johnny Alexander, welcome to Find Your Pace.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, I'm so excited. Thank you so much for coming. So basically, you are a chiropractor and the founder of Warrior NYC, and your focus is helping athletes move pain-free. I myself have been going to you for about once a month for the last 2 years and have had a great experience, but apparently chiropractors are controversial.
Yeah.
So today I would love to cover injury prevention, longevity in running, and cutting through misinformation in recovery and body care. But before we go into those, I'd first like to figure out why you chose to become a chiropractor.
Great story. I was in school for PT. So that was kind of my background was I was going to be a physical therapist, did my undergrad in kinesiology, started doing all the pre-PT stuff. And it was my second semester, my senior year of college. So like applying to grad school, getting ready for graduation, like looking at PT school that September. And it was a Saturday. I was sitting at a red light. It was like 5 p.m. I can't forget this. I was sitting there waiting for the light to turn green, dead sober on the way to a party. I had a 6-pack of beer in the passenger seat next to me with a seatbelt on it, but I hadn't drank anything. So I was sitting there waiting for the light to change on my way to the party. And I look up and I just see lights like about to hit me. So I instinctively took my foot off of the brake to like kind of let the impact be less, got slammed into from behind, and then went through the red light, and then I got T-boned. So I was in like a little Honda Civic, totaled. I walked out of that somehow okay, but the guy was texting and he was in a giant SUV and he just didn't see me, didn't see the light, just plowed right through me. So I went to the ER. They were like, x-rays look normal. It's soft tissue stuff. Go to PT. So I was in a lot of pain. I did PT for about a month. I felt pretty good. Went back to working out because I was always a meathead. Mm-hmm. And the first day that I remember I tried to do something pretty light. Like at the time I was like grabbing like a 30-pound dumbbell and my whole arm went numb. And for somebody like me who kind of grew up like I was a dork my whole life. And then I started working out when I was like a teenager to kind of get some confidence and grow out of my shell. And like working out for me has always been the best part of my day, my stress relief, and I was like, what is this? Mm-hmm. So I went back to PT and they kept working on me and I was really like not seeing the results I wanted to. And then I went home, I think it was for Easter, and my dad knew a chiropractor in town who I met when I was wrestling like as a little kid. And I just was like, sure. And I went and they fixed my neck in like a week. So I went back to school, just kind of like deciding like what was the difference between that treatment versus the PT I had been going to. I started researching different chiropractors and how they could help athletes and if that was even something that I could do. And I found some really good ones and went and shadowed them. And I remember being like, hey, like I've never been to a chiropractor. I had a really good experience, but I don't know, can chiropractors treat runners, triathletes, CrossFit people? And I went to shadow some really good ones that like all they worked with was athletes. My first boss ever was the New York Giants chiropractor, Dr. Rob DiStefano. I was in his office, like Super Bowl rings there, pictures of him treating NFL players on the sidelines on the wall of his office. And I was like, that's it. That's what I want to do. Wow. So I switched last minute and applied to chiro school. But I remember that it was so last minute that they called me and they were like, you have to accept your seat by Friday. That like it was a week. Or we have to give it to somebody else because our acceptance is like done. Yeah. So I switched. And then when I started my chiro school journey instead of PT, I really never had any beef with PTs because I was going to be one. Yeah. So my background was already like rehab exercises, soft tissue, athletic training, but I just wanted to add that element of the chiropractic to it. So when I went to chiro school, me and a couple of buddies actually started like a sports club, we called it, like for chiropractors that wanted to treat athletes, because at that time, it sounds crazy, there wasn't one yet. Yeah. Like chiropractors were not seen as one of the first options you would go to as an athlete. Like they were this like kind of holistic woo-woo thing where some high-level athletes would go seek out people, but it was not what it is today. Like it was just not, it didn't exist.
Well, it's fascinating that you say it's like holistic and all these things, but in reality, you still have to go to school for it.
Yeah.
So it's still a degree.
Yeah. So I did my 4 years bachelor's and then a 4-year doctorate. The PT doctorate at the time, I think was 3 years or 4 years, but either way, it was the same amount of schooling as being a doctor of physical therapy or anything else.
So it's crazy how a car accident completely changed your
Yeah. And listen,
trajectory.
like I have no knock on PT. I would have been a PT. I would have been a good PT.
Mhm.
But I think that just the physical therapy experience I had was kind of a cookie cutter one. And it just happened to kind of open my eyes to other treatment options.
Mhm.
I am friends with some really good PTs where we think more similarly than I do with most chiropractors. So I would even say that like I hate or I don't get along with a lot of chiropractors
Mhm.
because they don't think of things the way that I did.
Yeah.
But I think that separation is what made me who I am and what makes me good at what I do.
So it's almost kind of a benefit that you started by going or becoming a PT
Yeah.
because you have a different outlook on it.
Yeah. I remember when we were doing like the freshman year Chiro school, get to know each other, icebreakers. A lot of the kids in the room were like, they grew up going to a chiropractor for allergies and things. I was like, what? Like you went to chiropractor for allergies? I was like a kid. Like
Hmm.
that was not how I was raised.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people that their family had a chiropractor in it. They had been getting adjusted since they were kids. They were going to take over a family business. So like, I really didn't know what a chiropractor did
Mhm.
until it was almost like out of desperation to fix myself.
Yeah.
So when people come to me and they're like, hey, I've never seen a chiropractor. I don't believe in that crap. I'm sorry. I don't believe in
You can
that.
say whatever you want.
Yeah, I don't believe in that shit. But my roommate says that whatever you did to her hip is like life changing.
Yeah.
I'm like, great. Like we're gonna get along fine. Like, don't worry about it. I don't want to be thought of as a chiropractor. Let's just figure out how we fix it.
Yeah.
But I'm really proud that I was able to become a chiropractor, become one of those voices of like the sports world there. And I'm looking to like continue to be a thought leader in my field when it comes to marrying physical therapy, sports, and the chiropractic world.
Well, let's talk about that. So what
Yeah.
is Warrior NYC?
So Warrior NYC, chiropractic, PT, acupuncture. We have a small gym, and I'm really big believer of like movement is part of the medicine, right?
Mhm.
So the first couple times I see somebody, it might be more symptom reduction, pain relief. But as soon as we're able to do some active care, I do it. Like I will bring people in the gym the third visit
Mhm.
and watch them do an RDL. And I'm not talking like bend over and touch your toes. I'm talking, let's get the barbell out. Let's put the weights on there. Let's see what happens. Because when you feel better and you don't need me all the time, you're going to go back to doing what you did. And there's a chance of re-injuring it. So I'm a big believer of let's figure out what caused the problem while we're fixing it, rather than just looking at like pain as the driving factor. And then when you're in pain again, you come back again. Like I think we get you through that initial cycle. We teach you some stuff. We send you back out into the world better than when you were, before you got injured.
Mhm.
And then as things come up, we try to, hit it before it gets to be a bigger problem.
When you said I think you said when you were in college, you and your buddies were like this like sports, thing of PT, chiropractor, whatever
Yeah.
didn't exist yet. Is that basically like foreshadowing to what
Yeah. I
Warrior
mean,
came to be?
there was, when I was looking at physical therapy as my grad school options, there was a lot of, people that I looked up to as, I mean, I would call them mentors, but like we never met. Like they were just people that would publish like newsletter or an email. I mean, this was before social media. Like I remember being on bodybuilding.com and reading forums, right?
Yeah.
Of guys like Eric Cressy and Mike Boyle, Craig Liebenson, Kelly Starrett. Remember like CrossFit was like the thing
Yes.
15 years ago.
Mhm.
And I remember a guy like Kelly Starrett or like Mike Reinold, like those are guys that were young and cool and fun, but they gave you information on how to help people and help yourself. So none of that was a chiropractic like background. So when I went to chiro school and I was like, hey, I really want to work with a pitcher who's got rotator cuff tear. There's soft tissue work and there's adjustments and stuff that you learn as a chiropractor, but you almost had to like develop your own education as far as like what rehab exercises to give people. Like when should you introduce overhead movement with somebody who's got a frozen shoulder? Like those are the things that the textbook answer you're learning in school wasn't really applicable to like a pro athlete or somebody working out 6 days a week. So we got together, we were like, let's just come up with a little group of people that would meet once a week at lunch and leave it open to others to join us. And we would just share the things that we learned.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So what?
It sounds crazy to say that because
Yeah.
now it's like this content and this information is in your face 24/7. And like
Mhm.
somebody like you and I, right? Like when you open up your Instagram feed, it's a lot of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like yours is probably, protein bars, running videos, motivational stuff, athleisure wear.
Mhm.
For me, right? It's like, 5 exercise, like
Yeah.
why does your back hurt? Because of a spine, so we see it all the time now, but back in the day, you had to go on a computer,
Yeah.
search what you to find, and then sort through the bullshit to actually find people that knew what they were talking about.
Mhm.
And then cross-reference that with somebody else to see who was right.
Yeah, true. So do you use social media to work in Warrior, or promote Warrior?
Yeah. When I started my own business, when I started Warrior in 2018, it was kind of before the influencer era.
Mhm.
Like I remember thinking I should make my Instagram public so that if I have a patient that wants to show somebody that they're friends with who their chiropractor is, they can show them my page and realize like, okay, he's got tattoos. Like he looks like he's
cool.
a normal dude.
Yeah.
Like there's a
It's not
white coat
clinical.
syndrome
Yeah.
where I want people to know that like I'm just like them. I work out. I'm not going to take days off if my foot hurts. Like I'm going to figure out something else to do, right? Like,
Yeah.
you're right. Like your boyfriend's like, was he in the biking in the mountains right now?
Yeah.
Right. I laughed so much because I was like, now Trevor's going to become Lance Armstrong
Yeah.
because of this knee injury. Now he's going to be a professional cyclist. But like that would be me too.
Mhm.
You got to find some way to move. So social media for me was always a way to like bring the walls down a little bit
Mhm.
and normalize going to a chiropractor, seeking help for an injury. And it's just become a huge part of what I do.
How do you still balance being a chiropractor and also being like a business owner?
Great question. I mean, I fight that every day. So there are things that I just have to do as a business owner that I don't particularly love. Insurance companies.
We had this
billing.
conversation last time I was here.
Yeah. I mean, it is the hard stuff that like you, as much as you think like the more successful you get, the more you'll divvy that stuff out. The most important things are always going to circle back to you.
Yeah.
So there is stuff that I just set time apart during my week to do. I don't look forward to it.
Mhm.
And it's, sitting at a computer and reading stuff. And I became a chiropractor, so I didn't have to sit at a desk all day.
Yeah.
So there are things that I do that I just know that for the wheel to turn, it's got to get done. And I just prioritize it a couple hours a week. But the part I love the most is when I'm with my patients. So a lot of owners, and you might know some, where they start a company, they hire other chiropractors, other PTs, other therapists, other coaches, and their goal is to keep going up the ladder until they're not actually putting their hands on somebody. They're not actually getting up at 6 a.m. to be with a client. Like
Mhm.
I get that comfortable lifestyle. I have no owners who are remote. They don't even live in the city that they have the business in,
Mm.
and they do online stuff, which is great for them. But for me, what drives me is being able to help somebody and then having them send me somebody else to help. Like that reward cycle is what makes me really love what I do.
Yeah. I mean, I was referred to you by my
Yeah.
now boyfriend.
Yeah.
And I've also I've referred so many people to
Yeah,
you.
I appreciate it.
Obviously I think something that's really fascinating, and before we even talk more about what chiropractors actually do, what I've even said to you, and I've just said to people in general, is before you, I never saw a chiropractor. I never saw a PT. If I had aches and pains, I would Google whatever it is
Yeah.
and just try to do rehab on my own or just take some time off. But when I started going to you, I started going every 4 weeks, and whatever was bothering me that day or that week or that month, you would focus on it in that session. So then the next time I was there, it was gone and it was something else. And it just feels like when you're constantly doing sports and running or whatever it is that you're doing, there's always some sort of lingering ache and pain.
Yeah.
And if you're not fixing it in the moment before it becomes too late, that is like where I think there's a disconnect. It's like I would rather be going to you monthly for maintenance and upkeep than only going to you once every 6 months or once a year whenever I have an injury and it's like too late and it's too far gone, or then we're doing really excessive stuff. So that's what I think, or what I just want to preface this of like why I'm bringing you on is because I've experienced such success by going to you. But again, I also think because when I posted that I had a chiropractor coming on, it was 50-50. People were like, why are you bringing on a witch doctor? Which I've never heard. And then I had other people just like ask questions, which I'll ask you later.
Yeah.
But to me, I don't care about other people's opinions. And this is why I think it's really important that you're on here. You do it a little differently. You have a PT background as well, but you're also a chiropractor. You have a gym in your location. There's a lot of things that people don't know. But I also think that what you said, what did you say? White coat syndrome?
Yeah.
Like you aren't that. You're not.
Yeah.
It's not a sterile environment. When you walk into Warrior NYC, it is so chill and it just feels very comfortable.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of chiropractors, because you are one, obviously, what does a chiropractor actually do day to day?
So the chiropractic background is based off of more like like bone and spine treatment. So most chiropractors don't specialize in things that I would do with you, who is a high level athlete, like a plantar fasciitis treatment or a patellar tendon treatment. Like chiropractic traditionally, which is what I originally fought against, was for the spine, right? So neck pain, headaches, lower back pain. And lower back pain is the most common reason anybody seeks out their primary care doctor. You can Google that. Like the most times that people call a doctor is for lower back pain. So, you get to a point where like the Advil doesn't help anymore. You bought the new desk chair. You are trying to go to the gym. Like you can do a million things, but like you can't always fix yourself as well as somebody else can. And there's different ways to do that. There's either a mechanical way to do it or a chemical way to do it. A chemical way to do it would be drugs. So a cortisone injection, a steroid pack that you would take, an anti-inflammatory. There are things that you can take orally or whatever to work on the entire system, and hopefully there's like some relief there. A mechanical way to solve the problem means you put your hands on it and you actually treat what potentially is causing some of the issues. So for me, I consider myself a musculoskeletal expert. As a chiropractor, that's what I look at every day is the bones, the joints, the muscles, the tendons, like how things work together. And I try to make it an optimal recovery system. So like if I can give you more external rotation and you have a potential labral tear, can you do some strengthening exercises now that in the long term will relieve some of your pain and instability? So am I like taking my hands and like opening up your shoulder and going into your labrum and like fixing your labrum? No, the labrum is a piece of cartilage. Once it's torn, it's torn. There's no vascular supply to it. But if we can rehab some of that stuff, the pain will go away and you might not ever need that surgery. Now, of course, like there's levels to it, right? If you have a labral tear and you're trying to be an overhead athlete, probably gonna need surgery. If you have a labral tear and it's more than partially torn, it's fully torn. Every time you put your arm overhead, you're gonna get sharp stabbing pain. So there are things that no, like once it's too far gone, I can't help you. And then you've got two choices. You can live with it and hopefully you just don't do anything to piss it off. And I know plenty of people that do that into their 50s, 60s, 70s, and they just live with a bum shoulder. Mm-hmm. I have a friend who's my age, in his 30s. He asked me the other day if I could reach the coffee cup for him. It's he's taller than me. He can't get his arm overhead. He's a desk worker. He sits like this all day. He's married. He's got a couple kids. He's not really going to the gym that much anymore. So like for him, he laughs it off as like, oh, it's my bad shoulder. And for me and you, like imagine you and I had a loss of range of motion at this point in our life. No. And now we're just going to not do things because it hurts. So again, it's all about like your lifestyle and your goals. But if I can help somebody do something that they love, pain-free or better, that's what really motivates me. Like helping a runner get through those last couple of weeks before the marathon where they're just physically beaten down and they're questioning, should they even do it? The look on their face when I see them the week after and they're like, yeah, like, it wasn't great, but I did it. And I'm so happy I did it. And I like, it's not an ego thing. Like I love their joy. I love seeing them accomplish goals because that as an empath makes me feel so good that I could help somebody. Like little old me was able to help somebody like a high level athlete, like do what they do. Like that to me is the most motivation I could ask for.
Yeah. Well, what would be some misconceptions about chiropractic?
So the biggest thing, and I wouldn't even say it's a misconception, I think it's true, is that a lot of chiropractors don't focus on rehab exercises. They don't focus on soft tissue work. I call it extra spinal things. So things not related to the spine. So like shoulder, hip, knee, right? Like a lot of times an old school chiropractor, I'm talking like a bad chiropractor from like the 70s that didn't learn anything that I learned would look at you and say, well, of course your foot hurts because your hips are off. And if I adjust your lower back, your hips will be aligned up and they'll be even. And now your weight distribution would be better and your foot won't hurt anymore. And there probably is some partial truth to that, which is why I wouldn't just work on your foot. I would also check things like that. But if you've got an inflamed tendon or you've got some range of motion in the ankle dorsiflexion, I look at it as like a big puzzle and you've got to look at all the pieces. You can't just treat one thing. So in the past, there was friction between PTs and chiros because they were each doing part of the job, but neither one of them was looking at the entire picture. A PT would do, my experience PT, they would put me on some stim. They would rub my shoulder for 5 minutes. They'd give me a ball. They would, it was exercises. Nobody really did high level soft tissue stuff. Nobody looked at my shoulder girdle as it was affecting my neck. Why is that nerve getting pinched when I lift my arm overhead? And then some chiropractors that I might have seen would have just looked at my neck, been like, of course, you've got a pinched nerve in your C6. That's what's causing the numbness in your arm. We'll just keep adjusting that until it goes away. But if they didn't look at my posture or what exercise I was going to go back to doing in the gym as soon as I was pain free, I would have just continued to come back for the same problem. And they would just keep adjusting it. That's why you get that, like, oh, the chiropractor wants to see you 3 times a week forever. Like, it's like, chiro is like, just adjust you and then they send you back out there. Of course it doesn't come back. So what's the answer? Just keep adjusting it.
Yeah.
So I think that people who think I'm a witch doctor, it's like they're looking at a chiropractor that would just treat somebody that way. And the PTs that aren't really like at my level would want to see you 3 times a week for 2 months. You do the same exercises, you feel better, great. You go back out there. And there really wasn't like a high level solution.
Would you say that maybe it's not the misconception, but because you do it differently, you do things differently, but do you think that are there still chiropractors that just do the base, like, or the bare minimum? And that's why PTs and chiropractors kind of like work in tandem, but you're kind of like combining that all at your own, at Warrior,
Yep.
right? So do you think that maybe the reason why people don't like chiropractors is because maybe they've gone to one that's just doing the bare minimum?
Yeah, I think that also chiropractic back in the day kind of was rivaling physical therapy. And so if you had some sort of injury where you saw an MD for it, like a medical doctor, what made the most sense was like, here's some drugs and go to PT. Rarely would they ever refer for a chiropractor. So there was just this like thing out there where a chiropractor,
Stigma.
yeah, it's almost like acupuncture or like back in the, now these things are forefront and center because wellness is blown up. People that have sought out these options and did well with it have been like, this is what I do. And now there's this influencer culture of like, people get it, that there's better options out there. But back in the day, it was like the medical doctors hate the chiropractors. They sent everybody to PT. And I still say that there's some really bad chiropractors out there, but there's some really bad MDs out there too. I know some really bad medical doctors. So I don't think it's so much of like a chiropractor was doing stuff wrong. I just think that there's good and bad at everything. The American Medical Association, AMA, has billions and billions of dollars of funding. So they're going to always out promote chiropractic and always promote their PTs and their hospital setting. So I don't look at it as like competition, honestly. Like, people that go through these PT programs and these cookie cutter treatments from the orthopedic and they don't get better, they'll go back and then they'll start doing their own research and then they find me and then they're sold because they already did the other stuff that was recommended to them.
Yep.
So I think that that's my biggest thing is like, if somebody meets me and works with me one time, they'll know that I'm different. They'll know that I'm one of the good ones, that there are chiropractors that do things differently. But it also gives me an edge because their almost expectations are so low where they're like blown away when I do things the right way. But that's what I want. I want those people who are really going to believe in it and commit to it and then spread the word.
Well, I mean, literally, I feel like I'm giving you a little ego boost here because truly when I went to you, I just expected that you're going to crack my back, crack my neck and move on.
Yeah.
Not everyone knows this. I've talked about this on Instagram. I maybe get my neck cracked once or twice a year. I hate it.
I remember last time we did it.
Yeah, I don't like
it's
doing
not
it.
part of your,
but when we go there, you adjust my back, but like you are doing this electro, whatever, you're stretching. Sometimes you're like rubbing and like doing all these things. Sometimes you tape me. Like every time I'm in there, there's always something different going on because obviously we're doing whatever it is. But I think a little outside perspective is that walking into your, I had an image. I had what people sold me of like, chiropractor, you're just gonna crack your back and that's it. No, like I go in there and you're helping me with whatever it is in that moment, but also for the future because you want to set me up for success.
Yeah. I mean, there's two things that come to mind with that. Number one is like, you're a high level athlete. So there will always be something to work on. And I mean that respectfully, right? Like your goals and the demands that you put on yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, like they're greater than 99% of the people out there. I think that you don't feel that way because you compare yourself to people who are in that circle. But what you guys don't understand is that like, you're the 1%. Like you might be hard on yourself because you're looking at people who are doing exactly what you want to do. And you guys are training similarly and you guys are eating the same content and all that stuff. But like, when you look at like the rest of the world, you guys are so high functioning that there is not always just time to like let it rest or take it off or do something else. Right. So I will always find something that we can improve with you. And I don't mean that in a negative way, like you need help. It's
No,
like there will always be a reason that you could run faster, go longer without having knee pain. Like you're not somebody that just wants to sit around.
Yeah.
The other thing is people have different reactions to different treatment. So I have to almost reassess things as we go because sometimes people come back to me and it wasn't a home run. There might have been some short-term relief, but now they're presenting with the pain in a different area, or their back feels good, but now it's in their hamstring. So I don't always look at the same person and the same problem. It's almost just like, where can we start now? So yeah, if you're coming into me for, let's say, IT band syndrome, there are a lot of things that we're going to do similarly each visit, but there's always going to be something that we do differently depending on what I see or what I feel.
I like that. Do you think that has there ever been a time where you've recommended somebody to go to PT?
Yeah.
Or vice versa?
Yeah. I think that when you're really good at what you do, you can remove the ego and say, I can't help everybody. I don't want to help everybody. There are some patients where I think that they would do better in a different setting. And like, as a business owner, that sounds crazy, right? Like I'm telling people not to come to me, not to give me the money that they're earning or pay. Like I want a high success rate. So if I work with somebody and I don't think that because it's not for everybody. And I'm grown enough to admit that, right? Like I'm not going to be the end all for everybody. So one in every couple hundred patients, they come in, it's not a good fit. And honestly, like I don't say it disrespectfully, I don't push them to come in.
Yeah.
I give them some options. There's some people that, refer me patients because they're friends of friends and I get them. And it's like, what they really need is like a prenatal, someone like a pregnant woman. I've treated pregnant women for lower back pain, but there's so much intricate like ligament and groin work and things. And like, I don't necessarily think that that's my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And I refer out. I've got some really great pelvic floor PTs, not chiropractors, PTs that do work with them. And then, they have the baby, they go back to running and then they need to see me again. So,
they come back.
There's just things that I like to treat. People like you, I like to treat. There's people that aren't a great fit for me because, maybe they don't want to get better or they don't really take the advice I'm giving them. And again, like I want a high success rate. So if somebody's not really going to get with the program or they're not a good fit for what we do, I don't want them to waste their time because then they're going to think that I suck at what I do.
Yeah.
Probably leave a bad review, tell everybody how terrible I was, right?
Well, I think people appreciate the honesty. It's like, why waste my time and money? If your professional opinion is that I should go somewhere else, I want you to go because I want you to be successful. You don't want anyone, no matter what, to be either more harmed or could have gotten better and you're just wasting their time, right? Because it's wasting your time. Like you want to help people.
Yeah.
So whether that means that you're physically doing it or you're putting them, in somebody else's hands, I think that is really respectable.
Yeah. And again, like being at the top of the game, you get to know other people at the top of their game. So if somebody's not a good fit for me, the chance is that I'm going to know somebody who is a good fit for them and not just like some like therapist. Like I'll probably know one of the best people who specializes in that. So likewise, they'll send to me. So that's where I think it's really cool is that I know some really good medical doctors, some pain management doctors, some orthopedic surgeons. And it's like, well, why are you going to send that person when they're just going to give them some drugs and then send them to PT? It's like, well, because that person's like really messed up and they need a lot of like, they can't go through the treatments that I'm doing with them. So they're going to have an adverse reaction. They're going to hate coming here. It's not going to work. So let's just get them in the hands of somebody else who knows what they're doing. And then if they come back, great.
I love that. I want to talk a little bit about runners.
Yeah.
What's the most common running injury that you see?
Back in the day, the running injuries were the classic IT band syndrome, plantar fasciitis. I think that as the sport has developed, you're getting people who, and I mean, there's no nice way to say this. They shouldn't be a runner and they become a runner. They're just physically not molded to be a runner. Their body composition is not elite think about some of the hybrid athletes we know who are top heavy meatheads or they don't have a certain amount of like skill set to really do long distances. So now you're seeing people they have like really overdeveloped quads and they're running and they're leaning forward and now they're throwing out their lower back or they're getting patellar tendonitis. So some of the running stuff I see now is different than it was 20 years ago because I mean, look at this podcast, like the running community, if not the fastest growing, one of the fastest growing, I think, activities in the world. every marathon, they have to add more spots.
Yeah.
Every race that comes up, they have to add more. I mean, running is insane.
Yeah.
So I think back in the day, a distance runner was pretty light, pretty thin, an endurance athlete. They weren't doing strength training. They weren't doing cross training. They didn't, that was not, now everybody wants to be a runner.
Hybrid.
They also want to be strong.
Yep.
They want to have a sport. So whether it's, cycling or tennis or lifting, like there's something else. So the injuries are different now.
What are the biggest mistakes runners make when it comes to recovery?
It's for sure overtraining. I think a runner likes to run. And if you're having some injuries that are particularly like aggravated by running, it's hard to take time off. It's hard to do short distances. My classic runners that I treat, they'll come back to me and I'm like, hey, how'd it go this weekend? We said you were going to take it easy. Oh yeah, I took it easy, but the sun was out and I was with my friend and we were yapping and
This is so
I did
mean.
10 miles and I'm like,
Did a marathon.
I'm like, okay, so is 10 mile but we have different perception, right? Like 10 miles might be easy for you.
Yeah.
But it might not be easy for you if we're in week 4 of patella tendonitis treatment. For me, the conversation has to be, we have to be straightforward with each other and honesty. Yep. So yeah, back in the day, it was like, you would just tell somebody, well, don't run. If it hurts, you just don't run. And then of course, not going to listen to you.
Yeah.
So it's more like, let's figure out some guidelines that we can both agree to. And then we see how it goes.
How often do you think runners should be getting body work done?
So the classic runner for me has 2 or 3 big races a year. So we work around their training schedule because as you know, right? So let's use New York City Marathon as an example. I have probably 30 to 40 patients every year who are running that marathon. So you've got everybody from a runner who's a high level runner that's another day in the park for them. They did 3 marathons that year. Yeah. To somebody who got in the lottery, they want to do it because they're going to raise money for breast cancer awareness because their mom died of breast cancer. They're not a runner, but they're going to damn well figure out a way to do 26 miles. Yeah. So they're following, these running Instagram influencers. Hey. They're following some training program that their friend who ran the marathon followed. They're asking ChatGPT, if I knee hurts, should I run 3 miles or 6 miles today? So you get a lot of I don't want to call them inexperienced runners, but at that level, they don't have that experience yet. So it's fun for me to try to meet them where they're at, and then get them through that process. So I might see those people once every couple of weeks for the first 6 months, right? As they're getting more into it. And now I'm just using New York City Marathon as an example, right? Yep. July comes around, everybody's got long runs in the heat. So every Saturday or Sunday or Friday, whatever, they're doing, 8 miles, and that's 9 miles. 10 miles. So they're working up to 20 miles. And they're usually working up 20 miles about 2 weeks before the marathon. Yep. So now you've got a combination of effects here. You've got a deadline that it's not moving. The date's always going to be there. So it doesn't wait for anybody. If you're in more pain, we can't wait a little bit. We have to work with that deadline, work backwards. And also the training is at its highest volume, maybe 2-3 weeks before the running. So that's when injuries for a lot of people occur. So that's where that's why I get paid what I pay, because it's to know if you should or shouldn't do something and get injured and still be able to run a marathon or not run, those decisions that we have to do together the month or 2 before the race is where I pride myself on being the best at what I do. But yeah, a lot of times it's the treatment frequency might be kind of more maintaining things so we don't have a big injury. And then I might see them maybe 2 or 3 times the 2 weeks before the race. The day after the race, no one's even getting out of bed. No. But usually by the end of that week, we'll do some recovery stuff and chat about how it went. And then off season, maintenance is different, but a lot of my runners will still be running throughout the year. They're not training for marathon, but there's always some soft tissue stuff to work on and keep them preventatively, from getting injured. Yeah. So I might see them once every 2 weeks, once a month. And then they catch the bug and now they're like, oh, I'm going to do London Marathon too, or Chicago Marathon too. So yeah, it's really fun to see their journey because there's people I've worked with for 4, 5, 6 years now. And just to see where they've become really at the top of their game and how we work differently together. It's awesome.
I like that. So it's really super personal for each person. But I also, when you said inexperienced runners, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that because if you're not experienced in the sport, you need to know that. You need to know that you are inexperienced and that you are willing to learn and ask people and learn from respectable people. And it's funny, I was joking when you said the running influencers because I don't have a running platform by any means. But like take all of these things
Yeah.
as like inspiration, but then find the people if you're a first time runner, you need to be finding a running coach. I think like
Yeah.
if you can afford it, you definitely should be talking to somebody like a professional, but also just being an experience. I was, Rob Delto.
Yeah.
I had him on last or 2 weeks ago, and we talked about all the injuries and things that we know now. It took us years of running to learn. He's like, I was injured for years and years and years until I realized, okay, I need to be doing X, Y, Z in order to be a long time longevity runner. And so there's nothing wrong with being inexperienced. It's just don't be cocky and just ask people. And yeah, don't run to ChatGPT when you have an ankle injury.
I think, unfortunately we're all human.
Yeah.
So as these, I mean, the New York City, doing a marathon in 2 hours, that's like not
oh
human.
my God. No.
But the people that I treat who are now running these marathons in like sub-3, like the body is still the body. It's not getting created better today than it was 100 years ago.
Mhm.
So we're putting more demand on it. It's insane what you have to do. It is a full-time job to keep yourself mentally, physically, emotionally in it, to do it that long and be that good at it.
Mhm.
So I don't think AI is ever going to replace what I do.
No.
I think that also as there's more information out there, there's more misinformation, and there's a lot of things that people just don't. I mean, it's like you can get info from so many things. It's almost overload now.
Yes.
And it's overwhelming. So, I mean, I always like to take it from somebody who's done it and that personal experience, because they're probably going to have done research, filtered through some of the BS. Like I'm doing my first high rocks in a month. I've never done a high rocks. I'm not a high rocks athlete. I work out hard because I like to work out, but man, I'm fucking scared.
Yeah.
So like the last time I saw you, we were talking about shoes.
Yeah.
Cause you're like, well, what shoes are you gonna wear? And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
So like, it's, I could go down a rabbit hole, but what's more important to me is like, so many people that have done high rocks successfully, and you've done it, and your boyfriend. So like if you told me buy these shoes, I'm buying the shoes. I don't care what they cost. I would rather take it from you than, cause you know how many people that get something off ChatGPT and then it fucks up their stride or they develop some issue because the person who wrote that article about it had a completely different gait than them.
Yep.
Yes. And it's like, it's just, I mean, the more information that's out there, the more misinformation is out there. And I think that it's going to eventually come full circle back to personal experience and experts. Yeah. In their field.
Even when I say like, sneakers, obviously I have, brand deals and I talk about the sneakers and shoes that I like, but I always at the core say you need to be professionally fitted. I always have somebody look at your gait, have somebody look at how you're walking and running and all the things. So I'm very, very into go back to the basics.
Listen, if you're just trying to run through Central Park on Saturdays to get some sun and smell the flowers, like you could probably get away with most running shoes. Yeah. Because you're not training at the level where it's like those idiosyncrasies really make a difference. But when you're talking about being able to train for a marathon for 6 months, do it injury free and get a good time, you really need to like get specialized attention.
Agree. What do you think some of the early signs people have that like, what are some early signs that runners ignore?
I think that so a classic one is running through pain. People think, oh, it might be hurting because I'm not warmed up enough. So they'll slow the pace and they keep going, right?
So me.
And then because they think like once I get to mile 5, I'll be
warmed up.
My hamstrings gonna be so loose, I won't feel anything. And it's like, well, maybe it isn't your hamstring, maybe it's your adductor. So your groin isn't stable. Like, so a lot of times people push through these training cycles and then they don't feel like okay the next day, and then they try to run again, it comes back. So like, I think that listening to your body, when there's something small, it's so much easier to correct than when it becomes like repetitive overuse and just wear and tear. So, I mean, if you give me some time, I almost always can fix you, but it's the people that come to me like a month before the race or the event or like a high rocks, like next week, New York City high rocks is in 3.5 weeks, 4 weeks. I have never gotten more DMs this weekend from people who are like overtrained and nothing hurt till now. And now they're like, oh God, I got to do this in a month. Like, can I do it? Should I do it? So just with most things in life, like a little preparation goes a long way. But you get used to things and then you find what works best for you.
What would you say is most important, mobility or strength?
So it's a good question. I think it depends what you're looking to do. Strength athletes just traditionally have poor mobility because like the way that a muscle gets stronger is hypertrophy, the myosin and actin when they're healing, like when you do a bicep curl,
Yeah.
okay, your cells in your bicep, they have like a little bridge, right? They're cross links. So they're gonna kind of separate. And when they rebuild themselves, when you get soreness and things rebuild, they rebuild it tighter and stronger. And that's called hypertrophy. So the muscle gets bigger.
Okay.
So bodybuilders and like strength athletes are big and strong, but they're really tight. So they sacrifice mobility for strength. So that is the end all question, is like, if I have an MMA fighter, do I need to make him more mobile or stronger? Because sometimes the strength is what makes him good. He can deliver a knockout punch, but it's like you have to give him some mobility to do what he's got to do. But if we just work on mobility and he's not able to keep some of his strength, then he's going to sacrifice, some of the advantage he might have in the ring.
Do you think everybody should be working on mobility and strength training?
I think that like those are the two basic things for most sports.
Yeah.
Being strong and being fast, but doing it pain-free. So, there's different things that work for different athletes, which is, like I treated a guy who pitches last night, and he's lefty. So it's his left shoulder. We got to get more mobility, but his right hip needs stability because he plants on his right foot.
Got it.
So he's like really tight here, but he has to be tight there because he's got to be strong there. All his body weight is coming down that leg. So it's not necessarily like we want to make him like more mobile here. We just want to make it that so that his like leg isn't like so tight where it becomes inflamed.
When you said, actually, you mentioned soreness. So what is the difference between soreness and injury?
Soreness is typically short term. It is your body will heal itself. An injury, typically, no matter how much rest you give it, once you initiate the factor that's causing the injury in the first place, it's going to come back. Okay. So if I have, sorry, give you these examples, right? Like if I have like shoulder pain, there's like 50 different things it could be. So let's say we've narrowed it down and it's AC joint impingement. What that means is one of the tendons of your rotator cuff comes underneath the clavicle and the acromion where they make the AC joint. Every time you're going to raise your arm, it's going to the tendon has to go through that space to get your arm up there. So no matter how much I feel good right here in this plane, when I try to bring my arm in that position, biomechanically, there are things that just have to happen. That tendon has to go through that space. So if there is impingement there, if there's literally not enough space for the tendon to slide through, it'll cause pain. So no matter how much rest I give it and sore it was, it'll come back when I initiate that movement where the injury is. So that's part of my training, is to decipher somebody who might just be sore versus somebody that might be injured.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. So it's like, okay, yeah, you could be sore for a couple of days, but like week after week, if whatever it is that just keeps getting agitated, it's not because you're continuing to work out that muscle. Right. It's like, it's clearly something is wrong.
Another big red flag for your listeners is asymmetry. So if you ran 8 miles on Saturday and you woke up on Sunday and your legs were like pretty sore, and then by the time you go to bed Sunday night, you're noticing like your left leg feels good, your right leg's still pretty sore. And now Monday, it's like that soreness is starting to go away, but like you've still got some like soreness or pain on the outside of your right knee. Why is it just that one spot? Why is it just that one side? When you ran, both knees were doing the same movement. And it's not like you only ran on your right side, right? Like everything is symmetrical in the movement. So why is it asymmetrical in the recovery? So if there are things that just seem different, like side to side, left to right, like that's an easy one for your listeners. Like if something just feels different side to side, always, there's probably something that's not properly working or working optimally. So if you're doing athletics or you're doing a sport, and like your right shoulder is always sore, well, it's like if you're doing overhead presses and your right shoulder is sore for 5 days, but your left shoulder is sore for 2 days, it's probably not soreness. You probably have a fucked up right shoulder.
Yeah. Okay. Oh no, that's a good way to put that though. Yeah. That's like pretty black and white.
Yeah.
Like that's a good picture. Well, okay. So what are your thoughts on a couple of things? What are your thoughts on foam rolling?
I think it is overly used. I think that it's good to just heat up tissues. Like if you can lay down and stretch and move, regardless of the foam roller being there or not, I think it's good for your body. I think that the act of compressing the muscle and getting some heat and some blood flow to an area is good, but it depends what the issue is. Because if it's a tendon or a joint issue, putting your body weight on it and jamming it into the joint is going to make it worse.
Okay.
So foam rolling, I recommend, is better for larger muscle groups without a joint over them. So the outside of your quad, your glute, your hamstrings, like big muscle groups, calves, those are good areas to foam roll.
Okay.
Putting a foam roller on the back of your neck and like arching your spine over it, not so good. Laying on the foam roller in your mid back, good in some areas, but like if you have like a rib sprain or like a shoulder girdle issue, probably not the best, like jam your body weight over a foam roller over and over again. So I think it's good in like small applications. I think it's good for just generalized muscle, recovery, but I think it's overused and it's used sometimes improperly.
Okay. What about ice baths, saunas, and any recovery trends?
I love sauna for endurance athletes because I think that the way that your body just like, takes oxygen in and learns how to kind of like spread it out to the tissues and then like reabsorb that. And also like mentally being able to go into that place and ice bath as well, right? Like it takes you to a dark place that a high level athlete might need to find in that 25th mile of a marathon. Like when I used to do boxing, right? It's like you get hit in the face, all of a sudden, like, Mike Tyson, right? You get hit in the face, no one's got a plan anymore. So it is good to be able to just slow things down environmentally and focus on your breathing and focus on how your body feels and saving your energy by, meditation or whatever that looks like. So I don't have a preference. Like I don't love cold. I like heat. I'm a Leo. I'm a summer baby. Like I hate being cold. So I'll sit in the sauna for hours before I do an ice bath for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can find literature to support or deny any of that stuff.
Anything, yeah. Which is why it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
What would you say is overrated versus underrated in recovery?
I think underrated is sleep and nutrition. I think it's kind of funny because you'll find people who they'll spend like $100 on a gym membership and the shoes and the supplements and all that stuff, but like they can't get 5 hours of sleep a night. Do you know what your body's doing when you're sleeping? Like getting good REM sleep will give you such an advantage over the people with the good shoes, the people who train 6 days a week, right? Like I think people are overtrained.
Yes.
So I think that that's kind of one of the things where it's like, it's not necessarily that you're not training hard enough. It's that the recovery isn't properly done. And that could be seeing me, it could be getting a good night's sleep. That could be your nutrition, but that stuff's coming to light now.
Yeah.
But I mean, back in the day, like, you take people that we have pre-workout and go work out at night and then they would get 4 hours of sleep and then they're not recovering well, but then they just go back to the gym and do a different body part.
Yep. Again, it's like back to the basics: sleep, nutrition, train. Like literally those three
I'm
things.
guilty of it too. Like I get, I get in bed at 10 and my mind goes and I try to get up for the gym at 6. I like to work out in the mornings. It's my time to myself before everybody else in the world is bothering me. So it's just become a thing where it's like, I know if I don't get in bed at 10, I won't be asleep by 11:30 and my alarm's going up at 6. So then I can't train properly. So it didn't happen until I wouldn't say mature, but like I'm more mature now than I was 10 years ago.
Questionable.
I think that like it finally, the light bulb kind of clicked.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think sleep and nutrition is very underappreciated.
Okay, let's play a quick game of myth versus fact.
Okay, I love that.
Cracking your joints is bad for you.
Myth.
Running ruins your knees.
I'm going to say fact only because when you're a runner, you repetitively run and the most common injury for runners is knee stuff. So I was just going to say like the more you run, the more stress your knees take. Fact.
You need to stretch before every run.
False.
More mileage equals better performance.
False.
Rest days are optional.
False.
Once you start going, you have to go forever.
False.
Chiropractors aren't real doctors.
False.
Adjustments fix the root problem.
I don't think that that's true. I think that adjustments are part of the treatment plan, but I would say that if you don't do the other stuff, just getting adjusted is never going to fix it.
Okay, I have some listener questions.
Great. I love that.
We love these. What's one thing that I could do today to prevent injury? I feel like we kind of covered this really like.
One thing you can do today to prevent injury. I would say, just maintenance work, being preventative, like fixing it before it's broken.
What's the best way to fix tight hips?
See, this is like this is where I'm like, I want to see it. I want to find
yeah.
out what's making it tight. Let's just give a general, because it's like a general question. The general answer would be like sit less. So get up from your seat, take breaks, move, get a standing desk, do things to take your hip out of that anteroversion where your hip is forward, that pelvic tilt. And that should take care of some of the problem. But yeah, I mean, that's for me, that's like, let's do it.
So
Let's
also like
figure it
just
out.
be proactive. Like if you want to avoid back pain, hip pain, all these things, sit less.
Yeah.
Is it normal to always feel sore when training?
No, no, I don't think so. I think if you're training at a high level, yeah, but the recovery should be quicker because you should be doing more recovery stuff.
Okay. What are some red flags people should look out for when choosing a chiropractor?
If they want to see you, 3 times a week for a month and they give you a treatment plan up front at the first visit, how do you know that that's what they need? There are people where I work on them and they respond really well and we do things differently. So like I might not see them every week. I might not see them for a couple weeks. I might want them to go train and come back. So if somebody just presents a treatment plan to you, like at the first visit where they want you to sign up for a lot of sessions without knowing if it's going to help or how it's going to help, I think that's a red flag. I'm a full believer in like, it's going to take some time and it's not going to be fixed right away. Like if I treated you and fixed you one visit and you never needed any more work again, I'd be a billionaire because I would just do that for everybody and they'd pay me. But you should work with somebody who communicates an open treatment plan. Let's work together. What works for you? What could be optimal? What could be, a problem? Like there are some people that we can get better in 3 visits. There's some people it takes 30 visits. I don't know that until I start working with you.
True. Well, I think this kind of piggybacks it. So someone said there's a perception that some chiropractors overpromise, like they can fix everything. What is your take on that?
Yeah, I think that goes back to their belief in like the root is the adjustment. And they think that we just need to adjust it again and again and again, and eventually it'll stick. So if you're not doing the other stuff, the rehab exercises, the soft tissue work, the gait analysis, the lifestyle modifications, I mean, recovery is it's a multifaceted, thing. But I think that a lot of chiropractors traditionally, it's like if everything looks like a nail if all you have is a hammer, right? Like you're just going to keep whacking it till it gets better. I think that that's a red flag. I would like to see somebody who does different things with you, different visits. And as the problem progresses, so is the treatment.
Got it. And so this kind of piggybacks again. Is it more of a short-term relief thing or can it fix root issues?
I think it can fix root issues if you remove some of the factors that caused it. So if somebody comes into me and maybe they're like not supposed to be a distance runner, they're just not built to do it. And they stop running and we fix the issue. And then they're like, you know what? I'm way better at doing Pilates and now I'm doing that and I feel good and I'm happier. They might not ever have that issue again. But some people like they want to run. And so we can fix it, but they'll continue to run. And I'm sure that we'll see you again for something similar.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I mean, for me, that's like the fun thing. Like I'm an athlete too. Like I know that there's things I do that are going to hurt me and potentially I will be fucked up one day, but like it's an ego thing. It makes me happy. I love exercising. My son's 4. I want to be able to lift him up without back pain. I see some of my peers, my friends are like, they can't even do like household activities without like throwing out their back or, it's like, it's an ego thing for sure. But I want to always be training hard. So I will always have something to work on too. It's not, I'm no better than anybody else.
No, I mean, you're a human.
Yeah.
You just have knowledge that
Yeah.
you can implement.
And I still do stupid stuff, right? Like,
yeah,
all the time. That's what makes it fun.
Okay, we're going to do a couple rapid fire.
Okay.
These are quick answers. Favorite way to recover?
Protein shakes. I love protein shake. I love chocolate.
Really?
Yeah. I just love like a good shake. And like,
is it protein that is the?
I make my own shakes. I do like a bunch of different things in there.
Okay.
I have like a whole, for me, it's like dessert. It's like I love like making a good shake after the workout. It's like the ice cream at the end of the meal. Like for me, that's like the reward.
It better
like,
taste like
yeah,
that.
like you put the work in and then like you get like a nice, shake with all the stuff in it. I don't know. For me, it's like a little like boost of serotonin.
Well, it also helps. The protein helps you post workout.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff I put in there for recovery.
Okay.
But it tastes good and I look forward to it.
Oh my gosh. Most underrated exercise.
Underrated exercise, a plank.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that it's really good for so many things and most people don't look at it as like a core exercise.
I avoid it at all costs.
Yeah.
It hurts.
We should fix that. There's probably
I mean, not like, it doesn't like hurt anything. It's hard.
Yeah,
that's what
good.
I meant to say. It's hard.
But that's because it's good. But yeah, I think a lot of people that want strong core, they do dead bugs, they do sit-ups, they do leg lifts. It's a
like
lot
crunching.
of lumbar flexion. Your core isn't always trained dynamically. Static exercises like a plank where you're holding and you're bracing does a lot for you.
Got it. Darn, I got to start putting planks back into
Yeah,
my.
it's just it's good for people with lower back pain.
Yeah.
It's good for people that are runners because
Yeah.
like they're learning how to stabilize things in movement.
Okay. What is one thing every runner should stop doing?
I think that I think that just the running community in general is like overtrained. So I think that like if you're running more than 3 days a week, like you probably should stop. Maybe do something else 1 or 2 days a week. Try some variety.
But what if you're training and you're running 4 or 5 times a week?
That's okay if you're training for a race. If it's a
Okay.
short-term thing that you have a goal.
Okay, short.
But you know, people do this for years. I would just say that like some variety is good.
Yeah.
So doing one thing every week that like is different could go a long way for you.
Okay, well, I feel like that kind of leads into the next one. What is one thing every runner should start doing?
I mean, if you want to be good, I think that you should work with a coach. I think you should do some strength training. And again, I think recovery is key. So sleep and, you know, body work and whatever that looks like. Not even necessarily chiropractic, just any sort of soft tissue work and alignment will help you be able to train the way you want to train long term.
Got it. And your go-to advice for staying pain-free?
Come see me. No. Yeah. Listen to your body, listen to yourself, remove the ego and realize that like, it's okay to ask for help. No one's going to look at you differently. Yeah, I think that a lot of people are afraid to admit they have a problem and you can take that for so many things in life, but it's not an ego thing where it's like, you're wrong. You're fucked up. You're bad at what you do. No, it's like everybody has something. Let's just nip it in the butt and make you better. And then you can train harder. Well,
before we wrap everything up, where can people find you?
At Dr. Johnny, Warrior.NYC is Warrior NYC is my company. But yeah, I'm in Manhattan. So if people are local New York City people, for sure, shoot me an email. I'm happy to chat over DM. Like, I'm not trying to sell anybody anything. If you just have some questions, like, you know, I get a lot of messages. Sometimes I don't see them right away, but I will always respond to people. And, you know, it doesn't hurt if you drop Mallory's name so that I know who you are. But yeah, I mean, you know, luckily with social media, it gives a lot of people access to everybody, which I think people take advantage of sometimes. But if you are genuinely looking for help with a problem that I can help you with, I'm happy to chat.
Love that. So final takeaway here.
Yeah.
If listeners can remember one thing from this episode, what would it be?
I mean, I think I came here to say that like not all chiropractors suck, but no, I think that it's preventative maintenance work for any aspect of your life can really go a long way. And as a therapist, it's always easier for me to work with somebody when it's like in the beginning stages. Like there's so much more I can do with you if there's not a disc herniation, if there's not a ligament tear, if there's not like there are things that people like come to see me when it's already pretty fucked up, and we certainly try our best, but the outcomes are always better the earlier we get to work.
Yes, I agree with that. Well, I appreciate you coming on here and sharing your story. I think it's really cool. It's a really cool story. I mean, not that the accident was cool, but how you changed your trajectory from PT to chiro. But unfortunately, like we've said, there's a lot of misinformation. There's almost too much information. And there is this fear and stigma around chiropractors, which hopefully we've debunked a lot of that today.
Yeah. I mean, I think it goes back to just like do your research, find somebody who has the background that matches what your goals are. You know, there's bad MDs, PTs, chiros out there. But I'm not mad about that. I think it makes me better. I'm proud to be one of the good ones. So just do your research, make sure that the person that you're trusting has the background that they say they do.
Agree. Say it louder.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on
today.
This is
great.
Really appreciate it.
We just do this all day.
I know.
I feel like just hanging out
we basically do it all of our sessions. We just
I was going to say, yeah, we probably got a mic for it.